WDET is supported by the College of Business Administration at University of Detroit Mercy. UDM's Master of Business Administration is designed to accommodate the career needs of professionals across a variety of work organizations. More information at business.udmercy.edu.
It's the Metro on 1019 WDET FM. I'm Tia Graham.
And I'm Vicki Thomas. Today on the program, Detroit City Council has delayed a vote on solar fields in neighborhoods that would power all municipal buildings. We'll talk with the Director of Sustainability about the project later in the hour.
But first, on the Metro, the work of our lawmakers can often feel distant from our everyday lives, but sometimes their work can be more easily grasped. That may be the case with the part of the Inflation Reduction Act, which tasked the U.S. Forest Service with distributing $1 billion to cities around the country to expand tree and green space access for residents. Earlier this month, U.S. Forest Service officials were in Lansing to discuss the $33 million that they gave to Michigan to use to expand the state's urban forests. Now, to discuss where that money is being spent and why trees are important to city life, we have Kevin Sayers here. He is the Urban and Community Forestry Coordinator for the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. Kevin, welcome to the Metro.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So these federal dollars appear to be going to things like buying and planting and then maintaining trees. Is that the gist of this program?
Yeah, it definitely is. But it's more than just buying and planting, maintaining trees. It's really about also engaging with, the residents of our communities to help them feel, as you mentioned, better connected to this investment and better connected to their environment, and to really see and reap the benefits from, having those trees and green spaces.
And, why does that matter, especially when we talk about Michigan's largest cities, those urban cities like Detroit or maybe even a Flint or some of the other cities? Why is it important to expand forests there?
Well, I think, definitely that's where our largest population centers are. But, this funding, our programs are really working across the state in communities of all sizes. But it's where people live. And I like to say that urban forestry is really trees for people. And if I was to say in a word what the importance of this is in terms of, how it relates to climate and stuff, I'd say it's relief from, excess heat through shade, and relief from some of the stormwater issues that are seemingly increasing on a regular basis. And so that's really the importance of this investment for trees in communities of all sizes in our state and across the nation.
Now, Kevin, you talked a little bit about keeping buildings cool and keeping people cool, but I often think about flood prevention or even carbon sinks, anything to kind of help us with what we're seeing right now, especially in the city of Detroit when we see that we have lots of flooding happening in certain areas. So will we see flood prevention as a part of this as well?
Well, yeah, I think obviously it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
Our communities are very hard in surface structure, so the imperviousness of our communities, the built environment, is really what has exacerbated a lot of this flooding problem. And so part of the role of our program is to help, essentially mimic the natural system by making it more absorbent, and trees have that ability. Their biological function is to intercept the rainfall as it's coming down and to slow it and transport through the branches, the leaves, the stem down to the ground and evaporate it out in that process so that there's not as big of a surge of water that has to be managed. So it won't happen overnight. It isn't going to make an immediate impression when you have, like a 3-inch rainfall in an hour. Yeah. That's just going to overwhelm anything. So, where trees and the urban forests collectively have the greatest impact is, on a lot of these smaller rain events. But it is a tremendous benefit, and it has a real economic cost savings. And very visibly, if you're out on a walk and it starts to rain, you don't have an umbrella, where's the first place you go? You go to get a little relief or protection from underneath a tree. So you can see that effect right in front of you.
Right now, we're chatting with Kevin Sayers, the Urban and Community Forestry Coordinator for the Michigan Department of Natural Resources.
And Kevin, I have a question for you. This is Vicki Thomas. What's the timeline for expanding forests here in the state?
Well, this investment was enacted through the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, but the reality is the federal government, state governments, local governments have been, promoting and investing in urban forestry for decades before that. And this new investment is hitting the ground now. The federal U.S. Forest Service provided grants, and those are now being put in place so that partners, whether it's a city or a nonprofit organization, a school, they're mobilizing to get the trees purchased and planted right now. And we'll continue to see that right on through the end of this funding and then beyond, because we're looking at this current investment as a kind of a catalyst for future investment and to kind of keep the momentum rolling.
Kevin, so strategically, when we think about where the city should be planting these trees with the millions of dollars that they're getting, where should we see them outside of parks and outside of those places where we will see a lot of trees?
Yeah, so parks are certainly a spot that we wouldn't feel like a park without trees, so that's a need. But we're looking truly at the areas in communities that we want to prioritize for heat relief or for lack of tree cover. The low canopy areas, so that if you're looking at an image of a community from a top down, you can see the areas that are deficient in green coverage, and that's where we want to try to target a lot of that tree planting. And a lot of that coincides with some of our underinvested part of the community as well. And so we're trying to really address those deficiencies from an economic standpoint, from a social standpoint, from an ecological standpoint. But on a basic level, wherever there's space for a tree to be planted, watching out for things like utilities and making sure you have enough space above and below and around is a spot for a tree to go. So I encourage residents to get out and look in their yard. Cities are planning with the eye for priority spaces to be planted first. And, so there is a large expanse for more trees.
And Kevin, just building off of what you just said, talked a little bit about residents and some of the things that they would like to see, and as well building off of what Vicki was talking about just a little bit earlier, when will we start to see the trees coming in? When will we start to see some of this movement happening? What can you tell community members and those who are listening and residents in general who want to participate, who also want to help plant trees, who want to see it happening in the community? What would you tell them?
Yeah, so one of the goals of the Inflation Reduction Act funding is really to try to make some significant efforts at engaging residents to help them be a part of the planning process. So for the communities and the partners who've received funding directly already, that's something that residents can reach out to their community, reach out to their organizations to see if there's opportunities for them to volunteer maybe. To be a part of that, or watch for opportunities that are announced for them to share their thoughts about what they would like to see in their community, so that they can kind of co-create the urban forest. And so there's a lot of opportunities usually in the spring, because we think of tree planting as something that's happening in the spring, but also in the fall. But the planning process actually happens throughout the year, so you don't want to just think about those times, but start connecting with your local officials and other organizations that participate in this.
And Kevin, will this effort keep pace with the loss of trees in the state? And are there any diseases or insects that are taking a toll right now? Yeah,
so obviously that is where our best bang for our buck is to protect and preserve the existing tree canopy cover, because we are losing ground in many places, in many cases, due to development, due to insects, diseases, and storms, of course. And I can't promise that this is going to keep pace with that loss, of course. But that is the goal: is to put a lot of this investment into preserving and protecting what's already there, because you can't replace those fully mature trees with the same benefits from a new planted tree. It's going to take time.
Urban and Community Forestry Coordinator for Michigan Department of Natural Resources is Kevin Sayers. Kevin, thank you so much for joining the Metro and talking a little bit more about what's going on with trees in the city of Detroit and beyond.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
This is the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. Today, we will see a high around 90 degrees. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll reach a high of 81 with a slight chance of showers. And Thursday, partially cloudy skies with a high of 76, a little relief.
And coming up to you, we'll discuss Detroit's proposal to have solar fields power its municipal buildings.
WDET is supported by the College of Business Administration at the University of Detroit Mercy. UDM is offering a new Master of Science degree in ethical leadership focused on sustainable, ethical, and inclusive problem solving. Admission is open to qualified applicants with a bachelor's degree in any field. Course selection is flexible, with no prerequisites, 4 required courses, and 6 electives. Learn more at business.udmercy.edu.
Welcome back to the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. I'm Tia Graham.
And I'm Vicki Thomas. Government officials are moving forward with plans to transition the state to clean energy sources. This has been quite apparent in Southeast Michigan. That's because in January, Dearborn announced its plan to power city buildings with 100% renewable energy sources by 2026. Now, Detroit is attempting to do the very same thing. Mayor Mike Duggan has proposed building 200 acres of solar fields in 6 neighborhoods to power the city's municipal buildings. But the plan has gotten mixed reaction. Some residents and city council members believe it's a good way to fight climate change and address the issue of blight. Others think solar panels will destroy neighborhood aesthetics, preventing the construction of affordable housing and disincentivizing people from relocating to the city. Because of these disagreements, City Council delayed a vote on the solar plan last week. But what are all the specific details about solar fields in this particular plan, and what might be the impact on residents if it passes? To discuss this, we have one of the leads of this project with us, Tefira Rushton, who is director of the Office of Sustainability for the City of Detroit. Welcome to the program, Tefira.
Thank you, guys.
And right off the bat, just walk us through the details of the plan. We know it's over 200 acres of solar fields in 6 neighborhoods, including Gratiot, Findlay, Van Dyke, Lynch, and the State Fair communities. How were these communities chosen for the proposed solar fields?
Sure. So last year, as you mentioned, we are all thinking about how to transition to clean energy, right? So we had an idea. So let's see, can we utilize vacant land for this purpose? And so we looked at various areas in the city that had contiguous acreage that we need to make sure that the cost was efficient, right? And so we approached neighborhoods and let them know that there was an opportunity to apply for this treatment option for the acreage that was vacant in their neighborhood. We had about 19 neighborhoods that were interested, and we sat and talked with them. Since then, we've had with the Department of Neighborhoods have been on the grind. They've done over
a lot of boots on the ground.
Yes, they've done over 60 meetings in communities to talk about the opportunity, talk about what it would look like, what it would be, and we have dwindled down to 8 neighborhoods that are all in. So the neighbors had to get buy-in from their community. So they had to get a number of signatures and all of that to make sure that this is something that didn't divide the neighborhood. Made sure we had enough buy-in from the neighborhood, and so we dwindled down to eight finalists. And so here we are. The proposal is to start with 3 of the neighborhoods we mentioned: Gratiot, Finley, State Fair, and Van Dyke Lynch. And so that would start us with 100 acres. Yep.
And what's the process for installing the solar fields? How long will it take, and how much will it cost?
Yeah.
Big investment.
Yeah, it's a big investment, and it's an investment into our future because, as you know, Whitmer passed the Clean Energy Act last year. We are all cities all over are thinking about this. As you mentioned, Dearborn, but also Chicago, Cincinnati. We're all thinking, how do we make this transition? Detroit has said, let's do it with the land that we already have because we have thousands of acres that we have to figure out different modalities for, right? I'm sorry. What was the question? I kind of gotten.
Yeah, how long? What's the
how long will
process?
it take? Yeah, how long will it take?
And the investment.
Yeah, the investment. So, yep. So this thing is in council right now. So we got to go through all of those logistics and make sure that I really love, the checks and balances of government, make sure that all the questions in community are answered and that we're moving forward in the direction that the community can get behind. So once that happens, we can start immediately with the community benefits packages. And I didn't mention that, but, each neighborhood has the actual array that would go in. And then surrounding that, there's a number of homes surrounding that. So in the first 100 acres, there's 159 homes that would receive $15,000 to $25,000 in benefits to their home. So home repair in the form of energy efficiency upgrades that would help them with their bills. Once council passes this, that can start immediately, right? And so that's what you're hearing. You're hearing neighbors saying, "Hey, let's get started."
Yeah,
I've been waiting. I've been waiting.
Cut the check.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this, And honestly, Vicki, these are some of our most divested in neighborhoods, and we all know that Detroit has been through the gamut, right?
Yes.
We all know that. And so these neighborhoods, I am really excited that these neighborhoods will be receiving millions of dollars right into the neighborhoods, and that's the part of the project that really excites me outside of course, generating clean energy. So yeah, so this development, the city would stay in ownership of the land, and we had put out an RFI for developers. We have selected 2. So one developer will take State Fair and Gratiot Finley, that's Light Star Renewables, and DTE was matched with Van Dyke Lynch. So those are the 2 developers that we're working with. The entire investment for this first phase is a $14 million investment upfront. That gives us all of allows us to purchase all the land that we need to purchase, go through all the title and all of that things that we need to do. And that actually will come from the decommissioning fund for Miss Thursky, which is the old plant that we used to run off of coal in Detroit. And so, so it's really cool that we're utilizing those funds in a way that's going to transition us to clean energy, right? And so that's the upfront investment, and then we'll pay the net cost is $1.1 million a year to develop this clean energy, and so that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm. So right now we are chatting with the City of Detroit Director of Sustainability, Tefira Rushton. Once again, thank you so much for being here with us. But for some of the homeowners and some of the proposed solar fields right now, they may need to relocate, and we do see that they are being offered well over market price for their homes, while renters will get 18 months to relocate as well. So it's a lot of money going around. Where is some of that money coming for this particular project?
Yeah, so the community benefits is baked into the development costs. So that is that annual cost that is will be an annual cost to the city that includes the development and the community benefits area, and the $14 million from the decommission fund will cover the upfront costs for the rest of the project.
And this particular proposal that we're seeing, the solar fields, and I think about the municipal buildings as well. Is there any way that the Detroit buildings are going to see solar arrays on top of the buildings? Is there a way that we could do that or see that in the future?
Yeah, that is a possibility, and some cities do go that route. I would say we've done some cost-benefit analysis of the different type of ways that we could roll this project out, right? In order to put solar on top of rooftops, there's a tremendous investment into the building structure that you have to do, right? And so, in looking at the total cost, and we do have this dual purpose of repurposing vacant land. That's extremely important to our mayor right now. It's like, okay, we have, we all know vacant land is a problem. I come from the urban farming background. I'm looking at vacant land all the time. It's the reason why some people start farms in their area. They're, like, okay, what are we going to do with this vacant lot down the street, this lot down the street? But citywide, when you look at the map, we're at about one third vacancy in our city. Our city at one time was built for 2 million people. And we're now just over 600,000, right? So, we really have to rethink and be creative about the space that we have and reutilize it for great purposes like growing food or generating energy. So, yeah.
You're seeing all those things pop up throughout the city. It really does. It really is inspiring to see those things, see it all happening. And like you said, the vacant lots being converted to gardens, which I see in communities everywhere. It's really, really great to see. But as we continue on and we're trying to find a solution to blight in a lot of the neighborhoods that we see a lot of vacant lands, but there are some who may see them as an eyesore. There are some folks who may see it as an issue. So what do you think, and how do you make the critique of this?
Of seeing the panels as an eyesore?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you something. We as cities need to be rethinking how we're doing a lot of things. We are in the middle of this. Some people call this the fourth industrial revolution, right? We need to be rethinking about how we're even building our buildings so that we're using less fossil fuels. Look at cities over time. Cities over time are going to look different. I can imagine that at one point somebody said, what are these lines hanging over our houses? And now we don't even see them, right? Because it's an essential function. We need electricity, and we need to do it in a way that's not harming the planet. I will take it back, and I just want to take it back for 1 second, and I'm not sure how long we have, but I just want to take it back for 1 second because 2015, nations came together in the Paris Climate Agreement. Okay, we came together as nations to say, we're going to tackle this problem. We're all going to reduce our emissions, and guess what? Developed countries have more of an onus to reduce our emissions than developing countries, right? And we all know why, right? We have created this burden. How great is it that the Motor City is now thinking about reducing emissions and taking it seriously and getting the federal support? Some of this project is being able to support through the Inflation Reduction Act. You're getting 30% tax credits off of renewable projects in that proposal in that act. So yeah, here's where we stand. The former administration pulled us out of the Paris Climate Agreement. It said, America is not going to do that, right? And our mayor was one of 400 mayors that signed on that said, nope, we're going to still uphold that pact. That is a treaty between nations. And Detroit decided to uphold that treaty, okay? And here is our strategy to do it. Here's our strategy to reduce our emissions. Again, in front of council said, we are going to reduce emissions by 35% by 2024. And this is us living up to our own values and our own commitments to ourselves and to other nations. And that's what this is about.
And let's talk about where we are today with that council vote being delayed. What do you think it'll take to get everyone on board for this project?
Yeah, I understand. We were in the thick of like contract negotiations, and I understand as a city, we need to do better making sure that people are informed and comfortable with this project, right? And so that's why I'm here today. I was like, yes, here I come. I'm on my way because I want to make sure everybody knows this, what the purpose of this project is, what the details are, so we can all get comfortable because this can help us meet our GHG goals. Yep.
Detroit Director of Sustainability, Tafira Rushton, thanks so much for joining us on the Metro.
Thanks so much.
Yes. This is the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. Once again, we see the weather forecast for today. Possible rainstorms, a high of 90 degrees. Tomorrow, we'll reach a high of 81 with a slight chance of showers. Thursday, partly cloudy skies, a high of 76. And Friday, there's a high of 80 with sunny skies, so getting us into the weekend just perfectly. Coming up on the Metro. We'll talk with leaders of the Detroit Golf Club about renovations happening to the space and delve into the ways the club has tried to diversify the sport of golf. You all stay right there. This is the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. I'm Tia Graham here with...
I'm Vicki Thomas. Detroit Golf Club is known for a few big things like hosting the Rocket Mortgage Classic, which is a great event, a huge event for the city. It's also known for its architecture, with courses originally designed by famed architects Donald Ross, and its clubhouse was done by Albert Kahn. But that doesn't mean that DGC's infrastructure has always been sound. Recently, the club has had a lot of problems with flooding. That's why the club recently announced it will be undergoing a $16 million renovation that will transform the North Course and be completed for the 2026 season. Here now to discuss the details of the renovation as well as how the club has evolved over time, we have Detroit Golf Club President Michael Pricer. Michael, thanks for joining us on the show.
Yeah, good to talk with you. Thanks for having me.
And tell us about this renovation. What are the changes that we'll see and what will it do for club members?
Yeah, it's an exciting project. It's actually our largest capital project in the history of the club, and it's really focused on a few things. One, as you mentioned, our infrastructure is just so outdated. We have very old, 100-year-old drainage and 30-year-old irrigation systems, and while the course still looks great, many folks probably got to enjoy it on TV or in person a couple weeks ago. But, the reality is that underground, we just have an aging infrastructure that needs a ton of change and improvements to modernize so that we can be more effective in providing both our membership and, the PGA and our Rocket Mortgage an experience that is none other. And it's really going to be a required project for our livelihood and longevity as a club. And so that go ahead.
Oh, go right ahead.
Well, yeah. So that's sort of the infrastructure side. I think the other is there's a big focus and also just making the course more playable and more enjoyable. And through the years, even though it is a storied Donald Ross design, there's just an opportunity to make the course more playable and to bring it back to some of the original design that Donald Ross had intended back in the early 1900s. And so that combined with the requirements to modernize, we're really excited about the project. And, not only did we have a collaboration with Tyler Ray, our architect, we also collaborated with the PGA and got all that input to really create a project for the ages.
And Michael, $16 million, certainly not chump change. So how will you fund the renovations?
Yeah, the renovations being funded, from the membership. We had a vote. Any project that is at this kind of scale needs to be approved by the membership. So we went through a very rigorous process. We called the project the GCMP, or the Golf Course Master Plan Project. And over a course of really almost 2 years, worked the plan, the details, held several sessions with our membership, providing insights, education, and then ultimately had a vote. And that vote was to not only approve the plan and have everyone get aligned on our vision and where we're going, but also there was an assessment to the membership that they have to take on to fund the project over a course of some time. And so, going through all of that, that's fundamentally how we're going to fund the project. There are some contributions that we use from our Rocket Mortgage event that we host, and that also contributes to some of the dollars required to fund this project.
And why renovate the club now, Michael? What prompted these changes?
Yeah, really, the simplest answer is it's just the course can't keep up with the weather, and the course does need help to. I think survive may be a strong word, but to perform at a level of expectation when we have weather events, we struggle now to kind of keep the course open comparatively to other courses in the district. Right, many of the other clubs in the southeastern Michigan area have already done their renovations, and so when you have a big rainstorm and have 2 inches of rain, the course shuts down. That the course really is the reason why so many people are at the club, and that's really a major source of our revenue and our livelihood. So when we start to look at the challenges that we had in just sort of operating, kind of keeping the old course alive, it was time to sort of step back and realize we needed to take the modernization steps forward to make sure that this course is on par with other courses in the area, but then also provides our own twist to high performance and a vision for the years to come.
And given the history of the course with the architect Donald Ross and Albert Kahn, you're talking about modernization. Are you also trying to keep the integrity of the club's architecture with this renovation?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are actually going to really honor the original architecture. And so our architect that we partnered with, Tyler Ray, he is actually specializes in Donald Ross restoration. And so through his, insights and, Tyler won the first and third best renovation projects according to Golf Digest in 2020, I think 3 it was, or 4. So we really are excited about, our design and really sort of honoring the legacy and tradition of what was intended when Donald Ross first designed that course back in the early 1900s.
And the Detroit Golf Club is also known for hosting the John Shippen Tournament, which gives the winner of the tournament access to play in the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Talk about the Shippen Tournament and why it's important to the mission of DGC.
Yeah, it's really important to our mission of just being thoughtful about diversity in the game of golf and our club and our institution. So the Shipman is all about giving African-American amateur players an opportunity to compete. In addition, the folks that support the event and the club members that support the event, our goal was to raise over $100,000 to be shared with the competitors of the Shipman event. And then ultimately, as you mentioned, the winner gets an opportunity to actually play in the Rocket Mortgage that same week. So it's an exclamation mark on our focus around being a diverse club and really thinking through the importance of diversity through and through in everything we do. So it's been a great event and so well attended.
How many members are in the club?
That number moves around a little bit from time to time, but we're close to like 720 members.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big membership, right? The beautiful thing about this renovation though is we have two 18-hole golf courses. So even when we lose the North Course, right, the club will still be able to provide some level of play, for a time period while the course gets built and constructed. But yeah, it's a big number, and we have a really great set of members at the Detroit Golf Club. It's been amazing to see our growth over the last 5 or 6 years.
That's awesome. And what's the expected timeline, Michael, for the renovation?
Yeah, so we'll shut down the course right after the PGA event, Rocket Mortgage, next year in 2025, and then we'll shut down one half of the North Course because that's where that is where the renovation is happening, which is our championship course that everyone sees during the Rocket. And then, again, with respect to weather and events, probably for the first 2 months of construction, one set of 9 holes will still be open for member play. So effectively, we'll have 27 holes available for membership up until maybe the September, early October timeline, and then the entire course will be closed. So the good news is that after Labor Day, a lot of golf goes down. So, really we'll be able to offer our membership 27 holes almost for the full season. And then we'll go through the November, December timeframe, and then we expect the course to open up in sort of late May, early June, and then it'll be open for membership, and then it'll be open and ready for the RMC to commence in 2026.
All right. Michael Pricer is the president of the Detroit Golf Club, which has plans for major renovations set to be completed by 2026, that golf season. So thank you, Michael, for joining us on the Metro.
Thank you.
This is the Metro on 101.9 WDET-FM. I'm Tia Graham, and I am here with the communications director for the city of Detroit, Vicki Thomas. The Michigan Department of Natural Resources has closed Belle Isle Beach due to high E. coli levels in the water. It'll stay closed until tests show the water quality is safe. And the city also says people who swam at the beach over the weekend should call their doctors if they've been throwing up or having diarrhea, nausea, or stomach cramps over a 48-hour period. So definitely take a notice of that and make sure that you are contacting your medical provider.
Coming up, we'll talk with the native Detroiter who's opening a hair wholesale shop and what makes it so unique.
Metro on 101.9 WDET-FM. I am Tia Graham here with Vicki Thomas, the Director of Communications for the City of Detroit. Vicki, thank you for being here with us this week.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
So far, and we still have 3 more days to go,
Yes.
and I'm excited. I'm super excited. But right now, we're joined in studio by a special guest. Hair is important. There are very few things that me personally, I care about more than my hair. All of the time and money spent at the beauty supply stores and salons, even basements. It's big business. And according to Nielsen, in 2023, Black consumer spending on beauty products added up to $9.4 billion in the U.S. economy, with the average consumer spending over $300 a year online on beauty products. Detroit is known as the hair capital, but in a majority of Black cities, and especially like the city of Detroit, there are very few Black-owned beauty supplies. A native Detroiter now wants to change that. Ariell Ari Jones is the founder of Ari Party Hair, an online e-commerce hair wholesaler, and soon will open a brick and mortar in the Dexter, Davison neighborhood. Ariell, welcome to the Metro.
Thank you.
So you originally trained as a chef before shifting your focus to hair. Why the shift?
So the shift came during the pandemic when restaurants were all shut down. And a lot of restaurants had to pivot to go and cut their staff. And so I was at home and I had to go into my skills bag and see what else I could do from when I was a kid. I was cooking or hair, and that was one of the things. And so I had to pivot and see what else could I do to make money.
And you said, hey, I'm going to go back to my roots. I'm going to start doing hair again.
I'm going to start doing hair.
No pun intended.
No, back to the roots.
Right.
No pun intended. So just tell us a little bit about your business. What kinds of products does Ari Party Hair offer?
So right now we are fully, we do the hair extensions, wigs, caps. So we're just at real basic. We're not in the product part yet. I don't sell products, but I do just do extensions, weaves, and caps.
Yeah. And when we talk about extension, weaves, and caps, of course, we got to have a little bit of an explainer so when people understand what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about extensions, what are we talking about?
We're talking about wefted hair that's on a track. Some people call them tracks. Some people call them bundles. You have clip-ins, tape-ins, K-tips, things like that. Those are extensions. And then wigs are sewn onto a cap or some kind of mesh, something to hold.
And when I think about wigs and extensions, but especially wigs, I think about how much they've expanded, especially since the pandemic, watching people doing their own wigs in the mirrors on TikTok, on Facebook, on whatever it is that you see it now everywhere. So if you can talk about the importance that you have this particular space in this industry as a Black woman selling hair to other Black women.
So in my friend group particularly, nobody was selling hair, but we all wore hair. We all need our hair done. We all were looking for bundle women.
We all stressed
We
over
all
our hair.
stressed. You know, during the pandemic, you couldn't go anywhere to get your hair done. So everybody had to order wig kits and this and learn how to really lay those wigs down in the lace and all that stuff.
The
and
edges,
so
the edges.
it's important for, the baby hairs. It was important for me to be the person that I also wear wigs. And so to sell wig to somebody who needed the help or wanted to know, that's important. You go to a beauty supply store, they might not necessarily know about the wig. They're just there to sell the product. And so they needed to see me wearing a wig so they can also feel confident by buying it.
Exactly.
And putting it on themselves.
And some of these wigs are just amazing. You can't even tell it's a wig. It's like,
literally.
The technology is unbelievable.
I mean, the units are just, immaculate.
But some are pricey too, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, pretty pricey. Oh, yeah.
Talk about the price range.
Oh, the price range. It gets very, I don't know what we would say, bossy. I guess you know, the longer the hair, the more you spend, the shorter. It's like the more sassier you are. So, yeah, hair can go from $200 all the way up to about $600 or $700 for a wig.
Wow.
Yeah.
And installation, is that separate?
Yeah.
How much is like the installation?
Installation runs you about $125 to $150, and that's just putting it in. That's not curling it or nothing. And so we're switching that whole thing around.
Talk about big business, and I was gonna say that $300 a year sounds way low to me.
It sounds too low.
Super low, right?
I'm thinking about I'm like on average, but hearing what you're saying, and I know we all know about the business of hair extensions, wigs, weaves, whatever you're buying, and yeah, you're spending way over $300 even in a month.
The Sacred, Sacred came out, and the kit just to start is $265.
I know.
And so,
what's Sacred?
And yeah, for those who don't know what
Sacred is Beyonce's hair care line. So it was like a big deal when she came out because she did all this studying and she put a lot of science behind her shampoo. But when you go in there to start, it's about $265 to get every product, the entire kit. Yeah, and that's not even long lasting. How many times we wash our hair? Every 2 weeks. So,
wow.
And that's exactly. So right now we're chatting with Ariell Jones, founder of Ari Party Hair. And something that's very interesting, we have Vicky here as well. But Vicky, she's a Motor City Match winner.
I
love Motor City Match.
We both are?
No, you
no.
are.
Vicky works for the city.
Okay. Yes, I am. I love it too. I'm so excited.
Talk about being a part of
that program. Yeah.
So at first it was a little bit intimidating because you're going up against a lot of businesses. But once you get in there and you meet your coordinators and everybody who you're working with, they really hold your hand and walk you through every single step of the way. They're really encouraging. They really help you dig into your business plan and convey the messages you want to convey. Ask for the money that you're supposed to ask for. Don't play yourself.
Yeah.
In starting a business, you got to ask for the right amount of money, and so they are really there to like give me that confidence and support. It's been amazing.
And the great thing about Motor City Match is that it's putting businesses right in the community.
Yes.
And people always try to pit downtown against the neighborhoods,
Yeah.
but we're working all over the city
Yes.
so that people in the neighborhoods don't have to travel far
Exactly.
to find a great restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, and all these corridors where these businesses, of course, we've got 7 Mile Livernois, we've got East Warren, East Jefferson, Dexter, Elmhurst
Yep.
is popping.
Exactly.
So, I
And I'm
mean,
trying to
Motor
get over
City
there.
Match is doing
really
great things.
is, Vicky.
Yeah.
It
I
really
wanted to ask
is.
you about the name, Ari Party Hair.
I didn't choose it. The name was given to me. I used to work way back when, and I was a little life of the party, and people would just call me Ari Party.
Oh, I knew there had to be a story behind it, right?
And so it just went. It was my Instagram handle, and so it just went.
Ari in the party.
Yes.
I love that so much. So just building on talking about Motor City Match and just like Vicky said, building up the neighborhoods. You're going to be you're trying to put a brick and mortar right now in that Dexter Davison community. Talk about the importance that community holds to you.
Oh, I grew up over there since I was little. West Grand, on Linwood, and right now we don't have that many businesses. We don't have many beauty supplies. We don't have many grocery stores. We do need smaller businesses in that area, whatever it may be, besides just a convenience store. We need more, and I think people would be so proud to see me or somebody from that neighborhood do something in that neighborhood, and so we need it. It's essential.
Exactly. And when I think about the brick and mortar and I think about the location, what are some of the things other than hair that you would like to put into the location?
So in the location, I would like to put other beauty business owners. I want them to, teachers necessarily, specifically people who teach beauty, hair care, how to put in extensions, how to install a wig. I want not to be a beauty supply store or a salon. I want people to come learn how to do their hair as well, so we can take out a little bit of that pressure of having to do your hair and find a stylist, and then get off that train. You know, we can get you to learn how to just do a simple install for work or a birthday party, learn how to do a retwist. So I want other beauty entrepreneurs to come in and teach other women how to do hair.
Ian, I love that so much.
And can you just talk about the barriers to having black-owned beauty supply stores? Because, there aren't many. The only one I know of is in Highland Park.
Oh yeah, Crescent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. For a long time we didn't know how to get the products, and for a long time we weren't the owners of the product, and so they were just throwing out whatever they thought that we wanted, what we needed. Black women want hair gel, so they make a hair gel, or they want, without even really bringing us in to say, is this gonna work on our hair? Is this edge control going to work? Is this gel going to work? Is this shampoo going to work? So we are breaking that down by being the scientists behind our hair care products, by being business owners, creating our own beauty products, and the entrepreneurs and the advocates behind our own hair stuff. The barrier has been just the lack of access to those things.
Yeah.
And
You
so
think
now that
that's
we have
changing?
Oh yeah.
Great.
100%.
Thanks. I love that. I love the conversation that we're having right now. Fortunately, we're at the end of the show. So I want to say thank you to Ariell Jones, the founder of Ari Party. Thank you so much for being here, spreading the knowledge and letting people know a little bit more about black hair.
Thank you all for having me.
Great talking to you. That's the Metro for Tuesday, July 16th. You can listen to recent episodes online at WDET.org and make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. The show is also on YouTube if that's the way you like to listen.
The show is produced by Sam Corey, David Lyons, and Jack Philbrandt. Additional production support from Anel Scott and Sydney Walkley, and our engineer is Nate Bender, and music's done by Sam Bobian and Will Sessions.
The Metro is a production of WDET, a listener-supported service of Wayne State University. If you like what you hear, I hope you do. We want your support of the Metro. Consider becoming a member at WDET.org/donate.
This is WDET, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation. Have a good day.
WDET is supported by the College of Business Administration at University of Detroit Mercy. UDM is offering a new master's degree in ethical leadership focused on sustainable, ethical, and inclusive problem solving. More information at business.udmercy.edu.